Welcome to today's Explainer. We're diving straight into Argentina's latest World Cup prep, which just wrapped up with a very clean, very decisive 3-0 victory against Iceland. I mean, on paper, it's exactly the kind of positive momentum you want, right? We saw some absolute magic from the squad, a dominant scoreline, and a team that looks super confident. But, and this is a big but, as we really dig into the footage and the data, there's a much deeper, kind of concerning story lingering right beneath the surface of this win.
It's the ultimate contrast. A 3-0 win looks absolutely perfect on the scoreboard, but is Argentina's defense truly World Cup ready? Today we're going to use the match data to ask that exact question. Because honestly, that pristine clean sheet, it's actually hiding a very real problem that literally cannot be ignored if they want to hold on to international glory.
All right, let's dive right into this breakdown. We'll be looking at 1. The alarming defensive lapses. 2. Barco's rise and recklessness. 3. Palacios and Paz shining. 4. The irreplaceable Lionel Messi. 5. The squad's versatility. And 6. Why defense wins trophies.
Starting with Section 1, the alarming defensive lapses and a switched-off backline.
Now this is maybe the single most critical warning sign from the entire match. It's the timeline of their vulnerability. Right at the absolute beginning of the match, literally minute 0, and then again at the very end, the Argentine defense just completely switched off. Twice, Iceland had a player standing completely unmarked in the penalty box. We're talking clear open net opportunities here. If they had just tapped the ball on the goal line, it was a guaranteed goal. The fact that Iceland completely missed these chances kind of creates this illusion of a rock-solid clean sheet in the mid-game. But make no mistake, giving up chances like that at the opening whistle and the final whistle is a massive red flag. You simply cannot survive a World Cup run with a defense that loses focus that drastically.
Moving on to Section 2, Barco's rise and recklessness, the duality of Valentin.
So as we move up the pitch, we saw two very, very different sides of Valentin Barco, who basically had this massive omnipresent impact in the first half. On the one hand, you have the spectacular. He scored this stunning goal from completely outside the box, and honestly, that's actually quite a rare trait for Argentine midfielders, who normally don't shoot from those difficult angles. He was so dynamic, constantly pushing the ball forward, and he delivered this brilliant pass into the box for Nico Paz. He basically cemented his World Cup spot right then and there. But, on the flip side, just like in the last match, he picked up a completely unnecessary yellow card. His crucial flaw right now is this overly aggressive mindset that just leads to needless fouls. He's absolutely got to break out of this habit or it's going to cost the team heavily in high-stakes moments.
Despite that, we have to acknowledge his immense tactical importance. Let's be real for a second. Traditionally, the left-back position has been a bit of a historic headache for Argentina. But Barco effectively filled that void today. Operating as a left midfielder, he actively chipped in on both offense and defense, just seamlessly covering that entire flank. He was exactly wherever Argentina needed him to be, and that really soothes a lot of those long-standing tactical anxieties for the squad.
Which brings us to Section 3. Palacios and Paz shine as the unsung midfield engine.
Let's see how this builds into the core of the team. And this brilliantly illustrates our next big takeaway, Ezequiel Palacios' sheer efficiency. The guy achieved a staggering 97% pass completion rate. That is 71 accurate passes out of 73 attempts. That's just a masterclass in clinical midfield play. He operates as this phenomenal box-to-box profile. And even if you don't always think of him as a guaranteed first-choice starter, stats like this prove he is a highly underrated, totally vital asset to the squad's engine.
Then, of course, we have Nico Paz. He's still building his way toward 100% full fitness, but man, his impact in the final third was vital. He acts as this incredibly versatile option, and, most importantly, he's a crucial safety net for the team when Lionel Messi is absent. You know, the fitter Paz gets leading up to the tournament, the more reliable that final third attack is going to become.
All of this feeds perfectly into Scaloni's midfield puzzle. We're seeing some real tactical shifts right now, with pure midfielders like Guido Rodriguez or Maximo Perrone being actively explored. Why? Well, it's highly likely because Leandro Paredes is still dealing with some lingering fitness questions. Scaloni just wants to make absolutely sure he has every possible profile available to him to control the center of the pitch.
All right, Section 4, the irreplaceable Lionel Messi, the missing piece.
Speaking of controlling the pitch, late in the game, the captain stepped onto the field, and the entire atmosphere just completely shifted. The source material describes his cameo perfectly as a vintage classical Lionel Messi moment. Let's set the scene for a second. The pitch was wet, meaning the physics of the ball were incredibly tricky.
Judging exactly how hard to strike a ball so it meets a sprinting player perfectly in stride under those conditions, that is phenomenally difficult. Yet, Messi steps on and almost instantly delivers this defense-splitting, perfectly weighted pass directly to Lautaro Martinez. That single pass resulted in Lautaro drawing a foul in the penalty box. It was just pure vintage magic.
And that few-minute cameo defines the missing factor. It proves exactly what Argentina lacks in the final third when he isn't playing. It's that unquantifiable vision, the tempo control, the sheer ability to effortlessly execute a mathematically perfect pass that just totally alters the fabric of the game. It was a really stark reminder of his unique gravity on the field.
Let's zoom out a bit for Section 5, Versatility in the Squad, exploring Scaloni's super subs. Of course, as great as he is, one man doesn't win a tournament. Scaloni has built this super robust roster of tactical chameleons. We're talking players like Giuliano Simeone, Facundo Medina, Nico Gonzalez, and Enzo Fernández. These guys can comfortably slot into multiple different positions on the pitch, depending entirely on the opponent. Having that kind of versatility gives Scaloni endless tactical combinations, basically ensuring they have a setup for almost any scenario they could possibly encounter.
Looking at the bench, we actually saw two very different super sub experiences in this match. On one side, you had Giovanni Lo Celso, who absolutely capitalized on his minutes. He proved exactly why his creative spark is needed and provided an immediate impact. Contrast that with Lopez. He didn't have a massive impact, but honestly, that's largely just a tactical reality. He's a tall striker who requires aerial service, and that simply wasn't there today since Argentina kept the ball mostly on the ground. But despite a quiet game, having a towering profile like his remains a totally vital option for very specific tactical emergencies.
And when you look at the overall match flow, Argentina's absolute best, most cohesive phase naturally came exactly when those super subs aligned. Around the 70th minute, Rodrigo de Paul and Messi enter. By the 80th minute, Almada joins them. The way these players linked up in the 90th minute, that final stretch of the game, really showcased the absolute highest potential of this squad.
Bringing it all together for Section 6, Defense Wins Trophies, the final verdict. To summarize everything we've pulled from this tactical breakdown, yes, Argentina possesses a highly organized squad capable of extraordinary, magical things in the midfield and attack. But they are undeniably vulnerable at the back. Those terrifying lapses at the start and end of the match against Iceland, you literally cannot brush those under the rug just because the final score said 3-0. So I'm going to leave you with this final thought to take away from this explainer. Can this defense genuinely tighten up their focus for a full 90 minutes? Or, when the intense pressure of the World Cup arrives, will Argentina be forced to rely on their goalkeeper, Emi Martinez, to pull them back from the absolute edge of the cliff, time and time again, just like he did in 2022? Thank you so much for joining me for this tactical breakdown, and seriously, keep your eyes on that backline.